Scott Galloway is the marketing professor at the New York University and the author of the hidden DNA of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google. Good to see you, Scott, as always. The machinations now of the situation we are in with these four and with this situation, how much worse does it get?
Oh, we know that's the only thing we know for certain, Richard, is that it's going to get worse. This is the underlying business model of the internet, and that's to gather data as seamlessly as possible and then to distribute it to advertisers such they can understand how to target you better. This is the underlying business of the internet. When you get a product for free, it means you are the product.
And when we're talking about the data, I understand people get very het up about this. But if you're just talking about your name, your age, where you happen to live or log in from, I mean, isn't that just a given that we all expect that to be bandied around? Or are we talking about a much deeper level of information?
That's the correct point, Richard, because basically consumers have voted with their activities by saying, we are willing to give up privacy for utility. But there's some nuance here. If you're served an ad for an Adele album because you're at an Adele concert and the Facebook ambient noise listening technology is taking advantage of that and serving you a relevant ad, that might be a little bit creepy, but you don't mind. But when it comes to things such as religion or politics or health or sexual orientation, we're not comfortable with our data or our friends' data being mined such that it can be used. And even more than that, we're really uncomfortable that Facebook especially seems to have put up no safeguards or no guardrails whatsoever, such that their platform, which is now a community greater than the size of Christianity, can be weaponized by bad actors.
So, who is most vulnerable? Facebook is clearly in an existential crisis at the moment. But what about Twitter, Instagram? What about, for example, Google, which, if anybody has marketed to perfection and developed to perfection the amortization of material and data, it has to be Alphabet and Google.
The top three most vulnerable are Facebook, and Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg has become the unwitting poster boy for everything bad about big tech. We are in the midst of a textbook case study on how not to handle a crisis. They have refused to acknowledge the issue. The top guy or gal seemed to be allergic to preparing. They retreated to what appear to be the caves of Kandahar when this crisis broke out. And the key to any crisis is overcorrecting. You talk about Uber, the terrible death down in Arizona. The CEO immediately stopped all self-driving tests. Facebook has really said nothing, but the platform will continue to be weaponized by bad actors. We're in the midst of what will go down as the worst handled crisis in history.
So let me postulate to you that there actually is not much they could do. The speed with which this has grown, the nature, 2 billion in just a decade or so, no organization, no government would be able to put in place the systems necessary for the full protection of information, advertising, the monitoring of advertising that goes on the site. It's just not possible.
I think you're exactly carrying the narrative that big tech wants you to carry, Richard. If CNN can protect us from being weaponized by the intelligence unit of the Russian government with a few $100 million in free cash flow, then Facebook can figure it out with $20 billion in free cash flow. The argument that we are so profitable and have so many advertisers, 5 million, and there's so much free content being served up that we can run those ads against, make it impossible for us to regulate or screen this content, is nonsense. Every media company in the world has figured this out, except for big tech, which for some reason we provide the mother of all hall passes to. This isn't the world we live in. This is the world we make of it. And for some reason, we have decided that these innovators are not subject to the same scrutiny. It is just not true that they couldn't stop this.
Scott, next time you're around, we want you here. Talk more about it on the set. Thank you very much, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And